Hello, this is Head to Head on UATV and I am Olis Gerjuk. Talks about the creation of a united Ukrainian Orthodox Church continue, but this time at the presidential level. President Poroshenko has recently announced that the Kyiv Patriarchate and the Ukrainian Autocephalous Orthodox Church are making plans to merge, excluding the Moscow Patriarchate. To dig more into the issue, we welcome to the studio religious scholar Lyudmyla Fylypovych. Hello and thank you for joining us today.
Hello, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. So what does this unification mean for Ukrainians and how are people reacting to it?
For a long time, I think maybe from that time when we lost our independent status for our church, I mean the 16th century or 17th century, Ukrainian people would like to back this independence for Kiev metropolis. So when the process of our independence movement begins at the beginning of 20th century, 1917, this question arose in a new wave. And at that time, many Ukrainians decided to rebirth the Orthodox Church, and we got the two churches, Orthodox Church at that time. And after the communist regime, we lost our churches, and only at the beginning of 19th previous century, we decided to repeat this attempt and to rebirth Ukrainian Orthodox Church as separate, as independent organization for Ukrainian people. It's very important for us because I couldn't imagine independence state, independence government, independence country without independence spiritual life, which concentrate on the Orthodox Church for Ukrainian people. And now about half of population of Ukraine support this idea because it's normal to have our own Orthodox Church like Bulgarian people or Albanian or Serbian or even Russian and many others. Because we know that 15 churches now are autocephalous, independent churches, and they rule the life, the spiritual life of their people.
But still in Ukraine, well, you mentioned that half of the population, they do support this process of unification and becoming our Ukrainian church independent, but at the same time, the Moscow Patriarchate is the largest church in Ukraine by number of parishes.
Yes, you're right, but maybe...
What are the moods of these parishes? Would they be ready to change the church?
Not all.
No.
I think that we will have a new division among the Ukrainian Orthodox Church, Moscow Patriarch, because
after the process of unification, you mean, we would have new division?
I think that many parishes decided to go from this church and to unite to this new church of autocephalic. We have a very strong movement among the Ukrainian Orthodox people who belong to the Ukrainian Orthodox Church, Moscow Patriarchate. But what is the main problem for them? Why they do not unite to Kyiv Patriarchate or Autocephalic Church before this process? Because this church is not canonical. As Patriarch Moscow Patriarchate decided, yes. And if we get this Tomos, for many of Orthodox people, this problem, canonical or not canonical church, will be decided.
So Ukrainian Church, Kyiv Patriarchate was not canonical, you mean?
No.
Yes. So now it has a chance to become canonical as well. What
and
does
to be
this
included to the ecumenical orthodoxy, to the whole ecumenical orthodoxy.
Well, I'm sure that a lot of our viewers do not really understand what does canonical mean in terms of religion.
canonical mean that all churches in the Orthodox world recognize this church
presence of this church.
Equal part of ecumenical orthodoxy.
Okay, thank you. And how do you think, after this process of, after this moment of unification, would the Moscow Patriarchate stay the largest by the number of parishes, or would this united church actually get the majority of Ukrainians?
You are right. Moscow Patriarchate is afraid that they could
lose the parishes.
Yes, many of their believers and parishes. So they are not happy in this situation. And I suppose, and I think that they try to stop this process in different ways.
Well, just recently there were negotiations in Istanbul between the Ukrainian President Petro Poroshenko, Ukrainian church leaders, and ecumenical Patriarch Bartholomew. What is the outcome of these negotiations?
We will see, because we do not know exactly
the reaction of Bartholomew.
Yes, we do not, and we need to have in our mind, to keep in our mind that ecumenical patriarch, he has his own plan and his own dream what to do with the new church. When he decided to get for us or not to get for us this Tomos, he will take into account his own plan and his own idea,
and what
his
is Tomos?
own interests, not Ukrainian or Moscow or Romanian or another country. But as I understand, ecumenical patriarch, he is a very modern person, and he understands very well what happened in the world. And in this opposite, in this war between Ukraine and Russia, he understands that Russia is not supported by the majority of European countries and America and so on. And in this situation, he will I think that he will see on the reaction of another actors of this geopolitical situation.
And because the president of Ukraine, Petro Poroshenko, he basically officially appealed to Bartholomew, and from like he says, Poroshenko says that this is the first document in 26 years asking ecumenical Patriarch to create this united Orthodox Ukrainian Church, and Ukrainian MPs, they voted in favor of this document. Would this mean, would this show Bartholomew the strong stance of Ukraine towards uniting its church?
I know that ecumenical patriarch, he knows situation in Ukraine very well, because he has here many persons who could inform him about the opposite of different political and church forces in Ukraine. So now he supports, I hope, the most progressive part of our Ukrainian politicum, and give us this Tomos, I hope.
What is Tomos? And
Tomos, this is a decree, some kind of documents which regulate the internal management in the church. This is like the allowance to have their own hierarchy in the church and to rule and manage the internal life of this church. This is
the decree that allows the church to be independent and to operate independently. Okay, and so this looks like there is a special procedure for churches to unite and basically to get this decree. What is this procedure about?
This is only the beginning of this process.
So what further steps
the next
should we
steps,
expect?
I think Ukrainian Church need to organize, to meet the all Ukrainian Orthodox Council, and on the basis of this decree, decide how to live in future. What structure has, what change may be in this structure which we have now, because if two churches unite, so maybe the structure of the eparchy and metropolia will be changed.
And how soon would you expect our churches to unite?
I know that the churches plan to organize this meeting, the council, all Ukrainian council, before the celebrating of the anniversary of the baptize of Ukraine. So before
July?
In July, yes, in July this year.
And when to expect the actual unification?
This is not the
forecast?
act, but this is a long process, as I understand. And
does it take years to unite,
oh, no,
or does it take months?
I don't know, because it depends from the wishes of those people and those parishes, those priests who would like to be involved in the process of creation such independent church.
Well, let's see how things will develop, and thank you so much for this conversation.
Okay, thank you.
That was Lyudmyla Fylypovych, religious scholar. Thank you for watching Head to Head. I'm Oles Gerjuk. Goodbye.